Hey Changemakers, welcome to the best version of myself, where we bring on changemakers who are doing exactly that, living the best version of themselves day after day and continuing to improve them to be the best version of themselves.
I'll be the best version of myself, spreading kindness and peace.
Today on our podcast, we have Rachel Harwood with us, and it's my pleasure to introduce Rachel Harwood. Rachel is the business director at Challenge to Change Incorporated, where her journey began in 2017 as the original Yoga in the Schools team. Woo-hoo. Yeah. She is not only a dedicated professional, but also a proud mama of 3 amazing kids and an entrepreneur with a deep passion for wellness and the holistic arts. Rachel has a background in business and education, but is also a Reiki master, certified sound healer, and clarity breathwork practitioner. She has used these skills to help others find balance and healing in their lives through her private practice, Perfect Zen. Originally from Oregon, she has had the incredible opportunity to live in various parts of the world, including Canada and China, before settling in Florida, where she currently resides. We are thrilled to have her here with us today to share her insights and experiences. Rachel, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
I am so grateful to have you on here to talk all things energy healing, sound healing, mindfulness, and our new affiliate program at Challenge to Change Incorporated. So let's start with who you are, Rachel. Tell us how you came to do the work you're doing today and your interest in energy healing and all the yummy things about Rachel.
Yeah. Actually, it's kind of a long journey. I don't know that I can necessarily pinpoint anything particular that led me to where I am today. It's just been picking up a piece here and there and there and there along the way. It's really just been overall an interest in learning and exploring things greater than myself. But if I was to say it was triggered by one thing, it would have been the passing of my grandmother, which was...
That's a good story. Tell that story, because that's the beginning of Rachel.
It is the beginning in a lot of ways. Yeah, I had a tough upbringing. My parents were both divorced and remarried, and I heard someone once say that every child deserves to have someone that lights up when they walk into the room.
Yeah.
And that was who my grandmother was for me. And this is my mom's mom. I don't know if I could have made it without her, to be honest. She was just the most loving, kind, amazing woman. She was the person that I needed as a kid. And she meant everything to me. I moved to college, University of Oregon, and my grandmother lived 45 minutes away. She had given me her car because at the time she was pretty sick with cancer.
Okay.
And she had given me her car to help me out. And I would drive every single weekend my first year of college to spend time with my grandmother because she just meant that much to me. I didn't want to do anything else. So she ended up passing just days before my final exams.
Was it like St. Patrick's Day?
She passed away the morning of St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, that was devastating for me. I had not quite yet turned 19. But it was big. It was big. I didn't know how I was going to take my exams. I didn't know what to do. So I got on the internet, back
in the day.
So we're talking, this was 2000, no, not even 2000. Oh my gosh, 1997. So I was on the internet. I was in this chat room, which, you have to refresh.
Chat rooms used to be cool.
They did.
Yeah, it was like the TikTok back then.
It was. It was.
Yeah.
Like, how cool was it that you could connect with people in other parts of the world, and you were just hoping that they were who they said they were.
Yeah.
I was on this chat room, and that was just kind of my way to just deal with my grief in that moment because I was away at college and I felt really alone and didn't have my sister, whom was my best friend, to be there with me.
Carmen,
yes. And that day in that chat room, I met who is now my husband, who I've been married to for 24 years. I truly believed that my grandmother would not have left without putting someone else in my life to be there for me.
Yeah.
And and his name is Christopher. He was living in Canada, Ontario. I was in Oregon at the time. We're both college students, very impractical for us at that point. And considering, again, the internet the way it was, I mean, we would film ourselves on VHS tapes and
Oh my gosh,
send them.
you've never told me that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, we did all the
Yeah.
things. Yeah. My first phone bill to Canada was $340. I was mortified.
And that's back in the day, to our young listeners, when you had to pay by phone call,
Right.
not just by cell phone bill,
No.
like by phone call.
You had to
Yeah.
ask your parents to call someone that was long distance.
Did you
even-
ever have to highlight the bill,
Oh,
like of
yeah.
your parents,
Oh, yeah.
and then add it up?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember doing that.
I got caught making prank calls that way too, because it shows up on the phone bill. I know.
Shoot, Rachel.
I know. I had my phone taken away. But yeah, I mean, it is a long, that whole thing. I mean, there are so many pieces to that story, from losing my grandmother, meeting my husband, and how everything just fell into place.
So that was like your first experience with like the universe having your back, you felt.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And that led you to be like, oh, what else is out there that may be supporting me energetically?
Exactly. It was also a time where, I desperately wanted to connect with my grandmother. At that point, I had established at a young age that we do exist beyond our death.
That's fascinating as a young person back in the 90s,
Yeah.
80s, to
Yeah.
have felt that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it was really to do with my fascination that ghosts exist, because I believed that they did. And if I believed that, then I believed that there was something more.
Yeah.
How could that be possible if we're just gone when we pass away?
Yeah. Energy
And-
exists beyond our physical form.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was just, I didn't want to hear a fake ghost story. I wanted the real ones.
Yeah?
I would seek them out.
No like campfire stories. for
Not to
you?
be scared.
Yeah.
It did scare me. I didn't ever want to see a ghost, but I needed to know that they did exist because it just meant there's something bigger. And so when my grandmother passed away, I didn't even question it. I knew that she was here somewhere, somehow, and I knew that I could talk to her. I knew that she could hear me if I just took that time to acknowledge that. And so I did. And I started to get signs all over the place. And I didn't even think about asking for them. I don't even think I knew at the time. Like, you'd maybe heard about people finding pennies, but that was probably the only association I had ever known of people getting
Right.
signs from loved ones. So my signs were smiley faces, which
Oh, that's right.
made it just made sense. It made sense. And I, over these, I've already given the date. She passed away in 97. It's been a while. But even to this day, my sister and I still will see smiley faces. And even my kids now too, they'll point it out. Oh, your grandma's here. Your grandma knows. And it's always over significant moments of my life that I tend to see those more frequently. One of the first that I had found that led me to realize, oh my gosh, like this is a sign. This is my grandmother. And I tell people, if it causes you to pause, then it is. It is a sign. If it causes you to pause and ask, then you just have to have the trust in knowing that that is the sign that's meant for you. I was sitting in my sorority house having lunch with my friends. And
Is this after your grandma passed?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had my glass of water. I picked it up to take a drink, and the condensation from the glass had left a
Wow.
perfect smiley face on the table.
Yeah.
And I thought, it's one thing to see it on a sticker or a shirt or a balloon, things
Right.
like that. But we find them when I cut open a pepper, and the most crazy formation inside the pepper will make a smiley face, or just weird, random ways.
I wonder, because you're talking about her right now and your awareness is heightened, if you'll see something today. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
they're always around us.
They are.
We're just not always aware enough to look and see
Exactly.
and you know, acknowledge.
And you can ask for signs. I know I used to ask for signs from her often. And I always felt like it took about a week for her to give me that sign.
Yeah.
Because it is a language. You have to learn how to communicate with those who have passed just as they need to learn how to get your attention.
Yeah.
Because there is that desire on both sides. But you have to believe, first of all, and then you just have to trust that it's going to come. And then you just kind of sit back and wait and see. So, yeah, St. Patrick's Day, because of that, has been very significant. It was the day I met my husband. It's been a very significant time for us. 4-leaf clovers. My son finds 4-leaf clovers. He found one yesterday.
Oh, no way. In my backyard?
No, he was at a park, but I mean, he looks down. I've never found one in my
I love
life.
that.
And I don't know. I mean, dozens he's found. It's just the craziest thing. So we've had this significance around St. Patrick's Day come through for us and 4-leaf clovers. And for me lately, I am seeing double sevens like you wouldn't believe.
And what does double sevens mean?
Well, 7 is good fortune.
Right.
And I guess I don't know specifically what double sevens would mean. Extra good fortune.
We're going to have to look that up later.
Yeah. But I've been noticing it. I do think it very much relates to my husband and I. And I've had a couple things just pop up that, okay, yep, there's my confirmation. Because again, if it causes you to pause, then
it is.
It is.
Then it is.
So, yeah, the signs, finding those signs, asking for those signs, knowing that you might not get it right away, but they will come. I was going through a pretty significant time in my life a few years back, and I had just asked whomever, and again, this, whatever your beliefs are.
I say Gus. I learned that from another friend. That's not mine. That's what she learned. She taught me, and then she learned it from another person. And it stands for God, universe, and spirit. Yeah. So in my yoga classes, I have them when they're in pigeon pose, always look up and acknowledge Gus, God, universe, spirit, whatever it may be for you. So whatever it was for you, gave it to you.
Exactly. And that's what I tell everyone too. I'm not going to tell you what you should or shouldn't believe, because if it feels right for you, that's right for you. So I had asked, for me, it was just God, asking God, give me a sign so that I know that this is the right path. And I thought, I'm just going to ask for something specific. Just going to try it out. And so I asked for a marble. Now, usually I don't ask for anything specific, but I thought, I'm going to try it this time. So I asked for a marble, and I thought, okay, now I just need to sit back and see what comes. And this was maybe a week later. I hadn't gotten my marble, and I thought, okay, I need to.
Week seems to be your timeline when you get your messages.
It is. Yeah. It is. And I happened to be teaching yoga in the schools, and I was leaving one of our elementary schools after having taught with our team. And I'm walking out of the school, going into the parking lot, and in the gutter is a marble.
No way.
And not only was it a marble, but it had the green fleck in the middle, which again goes back to St. Patrick's Day and, green and clovers and St. Patrick's Day. So I just thought, there's my sign.
Grandma.
Exactly.
Things like that come up for me. 36 cents is significant for me. So a dime, a penny, and a quarter. So after Kyle's passing, he started to leave that for his best friend, who was his best man. And then he told it to me. And then all of a sudden I was seeing it all the time. And really significant times, I see 36 cents. And that's, again, you pause and you say, hi, Kyle. Or when I see 11:11 on the clock, I'll say, hi, Kyle, to my husband who's passed.
Yeah.
And just acknowledge their presence, their spirit, their energy, and that they're there protecting you. Because that's what I truly believe it is, like protection. So you, with this husband that you have married on after St. Patrick's Day, how many years later, you came forward and had 3 beautiful children.
Yeah.
And it's Charlotte, Wesley, and Tatum. And they're all grown too. I mean, it's sad. I'm there with you. I have a 20-year-old and 2 18-year-olds and then a bonus who's 27. It's like, okay, what's my purpose now? But you had these beautiful babies, and then you started in on your wellness journey, your seeking. So what was like that first pathway for you? Was it like Reiki, the training, or what was that for you? Yeah.
So, we moved to Dubuque, and I had my kids, and I felt like I needed something for myself. And I felt like they were still young, but they were old enough that I could go away for an hour here or there. And I was still really exploring my spirituality, and there was someone that I had met in town that led Reiki trainings, amongst other things. He had a gathering that I got to be a part of. That he had once a week. I think we would get together. It wasn't really a church, but it was kind of a funny thing.
Yeah.
But a lot of people that were very open to these spiritual things that I've never had people like that in my life before.
And can you explain for everybody what Reiki is?
Yeah.
Who may not know. There may be some people who don't understand what it is, but they've heard the word, but they want to know more.
Yeah. So I wanted to explore my spirituality more, and he said, well, I'm teaching a Reiki class, and this will be a great way to kind of open you up more. And I'm thinking, okay, yeah, that sounds good. I'm like, I have no idea what this is. But sure, I mean, if that's what it's going to do for me, then I'm game. And so I took this training, and I got a little glimpse of it. I felt like there was so much more out there, so much more I didn't understand, but it really did help open the door for me. So Reiki is a form of healing, a form of energy healing. The idea is that you are connecting with something greater than yourself. So again, you can connect with your Gus, whatever that is.
Right.
And you are drawing in whatever love and light and goodness there is out there. You're pulling it into your body, and you are directing it towards someone or something that could use that for their own healing, their own benefit.
And I once heard you say it's intense prayer. And I love that when you describe it that way, because that just opens the door so much for so many people to bring in Reiki into their lives.
That's what I feel like I'm doing. When I have a client come with me, they lay down, my intention is to help them to just feel at peace and just be in a place where they are just open to receive all of the good things that are there for them. And I essentially am praying for them. I mean, I'm keeping my mind clear and open to whatever comes, but I'm also setting some pretty significant intentions on what I want to be sharing with them, what I want for that person, and how I'm seeing them as being whole and healed and full of light and love and surrounded by all of those things as well. Holding the intention that, whatever they might be going through, that they're struggling with physically, mentally, emotionally, that is able to wash through them. Yeah. And so that they can leave and feel more at ease and feel a greater sense of balance. And I haven't been let down. I don't think out of hundreds of people that I've seen, I've never had someone get up and say, okay, well, that was silly. Everyone gets up, and I mean, you even look different when you get off the table.
Yeah. And I took my Reiki training from you, level 1 and level 2. And I love how you shared that it's nothing that you ever have to do as a business. It's something you can simply do for self and for people that you love, and for people that you might not like very much. You can Reiki them too. Yeah. But it's just a good practice, a great practice to have in your life as a human being.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I use it even if I always use the example if I'm at the grocery store and, you can tell maybe the clerk doesn't look like they're having the best day, or, maybe they're having a bit of an altercation with someone, or, I always take that pause to just see them surrounded with love and light. I might just smile at them, but beyond that, there's so much that you can do with your intention. And through the work that I've done, I have no doubt that the power of our intention is immense.
The power of intention is immense.
It is huge. And you can incorporate that intention into everything you do. You can be cleaning your counter in your kitchen, and instead of just cleaning the counter, you can use that as a moment to incorporate intention, saying, I'm going to clean this counter. As I'm wiping away the dust or grime off the counter, I am clearing space for more beautiful things to come into my life by clearing away the things that I don't want, the things that aren't serving me.
I love that visualization.
Yeah, adding that little intention. You can do it in so many ways throughout your day. And so, I mean, that's just the tiniest little thing that
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that visualization because, there are times that I find myself getting stuck in negative thinking, and I know what you think you become. Like what you put out there, it's the law of attraction comes back to you.
Yeah.
So I love that visualization, even in just cleaning the counter. I'm going to take that, Rachel, and I'm going to use that.
You're welcome. Well, I've got a really great story for you on that. And I think you might already know it.
I want to hear it again.
Because we were like new friends at the time that this happened.
I love our story of how we met, but that would take a while to tell.
Yeah.
But we just became friends a while ago through first met through the energy of our children, but then through a book group where we only read one book.
I didn't even read it.
I know, but that's okay. Well, it just became a friend group.
Yeah.
But anyway, tell the story.
Yeah. So at the time, again, my youngest was a baby. She was like maybe 1, and it was winter time, and I would take my other 2 children to school, and I would go to the mall, and I'd go mall walking with all the other people at the mall before it opened up. And so I had the jogging stroller, and I went by myself, intentionally so that I could have that time for myself, because my baby at the time, she would just nap, that was her nap time and my time to get some exercise, some movement in. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to try this out. I wanted to be able to be home with my kids, which I was. I was a stay-at-home mom, but I wanted to be able to contribute in some way. And I thought, man, I've got a business degree. I've got an education degree. I'm very creative. I thought there's got to be something I can do that uses these skills that I have, is something I can incorporate into my time with still being home with my kids. That's not going to really take away from that will bring in some extra money for my family. I'm like, I'm a smart person. I know I've got to be able to come up with something. And so I had no clue what that would be. And we were new to the area at the time. I didn't know very many people either. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna see what I can do with this power of manifestation, law of attraction. So as I'm going around the mall, in my mind, was just speaking the things as if this had already come to me.
Yeah.
And I would just go on and on and on and just let it go. So as an example, I'm like, I can't believe, why didn't I think of this sooner? This is perfect. I get to be home with my kids. Look at all this money that's coming in.
I love that.
It's fun. I'm able to use my creativity, and I can't believe I didn't think of this sooner. And look at all the people that are benefiting from what I'm doing. It's perfect. My husband's so proud of me. And I just kept saying these things in my head. Now, not only was I saying those things, but I tried to embody what it would feel like if that were true. What would it feel like if those things that I was speaking were true? And so that's all I did. While I'm walking around the mall, I'm playing this
movement, meditation, manifestation.
in my head. And one day while I was walking around the mall, I had this idea pop into my head. And the idea was to create essentially a summer homeschool program for stay-at-home parents that could be used by, any type of caregiver, really.
Right.
But they were educational but fun activities that covered a broad range of ages because, stay-at-home mom is going to have the baby and she's going to have the 5-year-old, she's going to have the 7-year-old. So it's got to be something that can engage all of the kids. It's got to be easy to set up. It's got to take minimal supplies and preparation. And be something that she can maybe have the kids working on while she's doing the dishes.
Right.
All these things that, I thought, okay, yeah, I can do this. And so I created a 12-week summer program, exactly that, with all of these activities that includes all of the different, subjects, from reading to writing to math to science, social studies, all of those things incorporated, quick, easy, little cards. You just print them out, they're there. And so I worked on that for the next year, and I'm still selling it today. And I created this, Tate's 17. I created it when she was like 1 year old.
That's wild. And that all happened through the power of manifestation.
Yes. I just had that idea just popped in my head, and it was everything that I was asking for it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
I had heard that story before, but not the part from the mall walking. So
Oh.
it's just like movement, meditation,
Yeah.
manifestation, three
Yes.
powerful modalities
Yeah.
right there. Okay. So Reiki training, you are also a certified sound healer and clarity breath work. So tell us a little bit about the sound healing, because you have gotten me into the sound healing gig, because it's been a really powerful practice for me. Like as I navigated my cancer journey, I found like vibration and sound and music alone were wonderful for like my heart rate variability and my own health and my stress levels and sleeping good at night. And it's all from having experiences with you. And so I'm finishing up my level 2, which I'm super excited about. And we've done a few sound healings together, and we're doing one again soon. But tell us a little bit about that, and all the listeners, for anybody who might be searching for something else that's another form of energy healing through sound and vibration.
I love sound healing. It was one of those things that I knew that other people incorporated sound into their energy healing, and I wanted to do that. I had picked up a couple pieces, singing bowl, specifically, trying to think. I had a couple, like a rain stick. I had a couple other things that I wasn't really using, but I had, that I use today for my sound healing. But it was one of those things that I was fascinated by the idea of incorporating it, but I didn't want to be fake. I didn't want to just, I'm just going to bring a bowl and look at, aren't you having a nice experience? No, like I needed to know.
I can't even imagine you doing something fake like that.
I can't, yeah, I'm not just going to do something because I know some people do. Like I want to know what I'm doing. So I had an opportunity to take a sound healing training, and it just blew me away, because what I do with energy healing, where I might take my hands across someone's body and pick up the subtle differences in the energy with my hands, I can now take a sound tool like a tuning fork or a singing bowl, and I can run that across someone's body. And not only am I picking up the change in the energy, but you can hear it too.
You can hear it. There's proof there.
Yeah. So that to me was just, okay. I mean, I was convinced enough myself. I feel it. I don't question it. At this point, I've been doing it long enough. I don't question it at all. But there are still a lot of people that think, I don't know. So I loved the fact that I now had a modality where there was no question. Yeah, you hear it too. Okay, now how can we work with this sound tool to change that vibration? So, when we're running this bowl across your body, it's just a nice even tone all the way across.
And I love how in that modality, like that integration check-in piece, you can listen to it at the physical level, the mental level, the emotional, the spirit, and the soul. Like you can hear those imbalances on all 5 levels, which is so powerful.
It is. I mean, we are energy. We are energetic beings, and everything around us too is energy. So it doesn't really have to be limited to the sound, but with the sound, we can create very easily a greater sense of peace and well-being and relaxation to the nervous system, which helps to keep that balance through all of those physical, mental, emotional, all of those different parts of our being. So the sound is just really, for me, one of the best ways to bring a greater sense of calm. But I think it also does cause you to question what energetically around me is bringing in a vibration that might be causing stress or strain.
Yeah.
And my husband just started a new job, and he FaceTimed me from his office, and he said, I thought you might like to see my new office. And I'm watching as he's panning around. I'm like, oh gosh, like those halogen lights that you have up above you, you probably want to do something different, because it's not a sound necessarily, but they do give off a vibration. And sound, there are just certain vibrations that we can hear and certain vibrations we can't, right? Everything's vibrating. So the vibration that would come from those lights energetically can cause a lot of anxiety. Yeah. And so I thought, oh my gosh, you don't have any natural light coming into your office. That's something that, you can definitely change these little things. I mean, just even going outside is huge. Just getting your feet on the ground, grounding yourself. I know I told you this, but just wearing linen.
Right. And I've come to love linen, especially this summer.
I know. Yes. Yeah. So that's something people can kind of look up, but it is really crazy cool. I think our bodies vibrate at, I believe it's around 75 to 100 hertz. Our bodies vibrate at that. So if you are wearing something or are exposed to something that is of a similar vibration, then you feel pretty balanced, at ease. Linen, however, is 1,000 hertz, the vibration of linen.
Really?
Yes.
1,000.
1,000.
Wow.
So if you wear something that is vibrating that high, it only helps healing of all those things.
I'm wearing linen every day.
Body, mind, spirit. It helps you to feel happier and more at ease. You're going to navigate through your day better. You're just going to feel good. I got linen sheets for my bed, so I know that I'm going to get at least 8 hours, well, hopefully, right? 8 hours of linen contact.
Maybe.
So wool is 1,000 in the opposite direction, but so it still has that great benefit, but you can't wear linen and wool together because it cancels out.
Wow. That's fascinating.
Because they're opposite.
Yeah.
But most things that we wear, the synthetics that we wear, are very low vibration. So I don't exactly understand how that works with the wool being negative, but I know like rayon and polyester, those things, synthetic, are very low vibration. So they do kind of energetically
pull us down. Yeah.
So it's just something to think about, but it's just there's so many things. Once you kind of step into, like me, stepping in, believe in ghosts, and then looking for signs from my grandmother, and then wanting to find ways to connect with her, leading me to finding someone that's going to teach me Reiki, and then that leads me into wanting to explore sound healing. And then now, from there, I found breath work, because that was another way that we can affect the energy within us. And the breath work was something that I found profoundly helps to shift energy within you. So if you have past traumas or things that you're holding on to, the breath work can help to shift that. So I think it can
pranayama,
be really...
breath work is so powerful.
Yeah.
So powerful. And this type of breath work is specialized. Like, it's a specialized training. And you did a lot of this through COVID too.
Yes.
I remember you hunkering down with your computer, going through every training of the levels, and then coming out on the other side with this like amazing certification.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah. It's hard work. It's one of those things you have to prepare yourself. I pretty much have to force myself to do it, but I'm always feeling so good after I go through a practice. And that kind of leads me into something that I did want to share, because this to me was a little bit of an aha moment when I remember going to the gentleman that I took my Reiki training from.
Okay.
I remember going to him, and he was talking about, well, we hold on to this, we hold on to things, and we store this negative energy in our body. And I do ultimately believe that when we have tough experiences in our life, we do kind of collect.
Our body keeps the score.
Our body keeps the score. Exactly. And so I remember him asking him, well, how do I know if I've processed all these things? Like, feel like I'm doing the work and I'm trying to work through it, but how do I really know? Have I healed this trauma from my past? Right? And I didn't really like the answer I got from him.
What was the answer?
I don't even know.
But you just knew it didn't align.
I'm like, I don't know. That's not good enough for me. Not good enough for me. Well, I kind of figured it out. How do you know? So I do this exercise with people when I'm first introducing the idea of energy. And so I'll have them close their eyes, and I'll have them think about something that they've gone through that was challenging.
Yeah.
Sad, hurtful, where you were angry, just a challenging time in your life, or a challenging moment, maybe a person that you're having a hard time with. And closing your eyes, putting yourself in that moment with that person, in that situation, and just seeing how, maybe because I'm more practiced, but I can instantly feel my body kind of energies just kind of sink. But where do you feel like a tightness or a tension in your body? If you're feeling that, then you're still holding on to something. There's still something there that you can work through, that needs to be worked through. If you can think about this terrible, hard thing that you've gone through and you aren't feeling any of that tightness or tension, then you've processed it. It's now just a memory. It's not a sad event that you're holding on to. It's an unfortunate memory, perhaps.
That you can look over your shoulder and acknowledge that happened for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you're retelling the story, if you're telling, this happened to me, and it brings you to tears, there's still stuff there.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that it's easy to work through all these things. And I've kind of struggled with that myself. Is it possible, really? Some of the things that we experience are really traumatic, really hard for us to go through. Is it possible to fully move past some of these things? Is it inevitable that we're going to hold on to a piece of these hardships?
Yeah. Well, I think constantly doing the work and bettering ourselves, and continuing to hone in to be better. Every training we do, every practice we do, every sound healing we go to, we continue to heal.
Yeah.
We continue to heal. And there are times like, for me, grief, it just rears its ugly head sometimes. And that happens. And I just have to acknowledge that it's happening again. And this is what I'm going to do to move forward through it,
Exactly. Yeah. And I think a lot of it too, just sometimes even healing is changing your perspective and choosing to see it in a different way, without telling the whole story. My childhood was rough, and that was something I didn't necessarily want to carry as a poor me. Right. This is what I had to go through. I know that I am the person today because I went through that, and I know that I'm strong,
resilient.
Exactly.
Yes.
I know that I am resilient. I wouldn't be who I am today had I not had that experience. I wouldn't be the mom I am today, had I not had those experiences. So in a way, I am grateful for the challenges that I had to face as a kid. I am grateful for that because I know I wouldn't be who I am today without it.
So to me, that sounds like a very healed perspective. To say, I am grateful for the experiences that those challenges have given me to bring me where I'm at today. That's beautiful, Rachel.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
We could talk all day about all the things because that's what we used to do in our book club where we never read books. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
But you were, so we were friends and we were in this book club and you were a Reiki practitioner, not into sound healing yet. But we'd come with these ideas and these dreams that we wanted to manifest. And I really was into teaching kids yoga. And you were like, oh my God, that's so cool. I love that idea. And then I came to you and said, I want to open a studio after I did my training. And you were like the most supportive friend where a lot of people would be like, well, where's your business plan? I'm like, no bank could approve this business plan. Come on. But it was, I'm going to do this and I'm going to use my own blood, sweat, and tears. And you were like, yeah, that's great. Let's do it. And then I'm like, I'm going to offer a training to teach people to do what I'm doing. Yeah, that's great. Let's do it. I'm going to teach for you and we're going to go into the schools. And so the fall of 2017, there were 4 of us. I call us the core 4.
Yeah.
And so it was Shauna, Laura, who's our marketing director, you, who's our business director, and me. And we went into the schools and we had these 31 bags full of eye pillows and smiles on our faces. And there's this picture of the 4 of us wearing sunglasses on the first day going into our first school, Sageville Elementary.
I was going to say, it was Sageville. I remember.
And we were so excited.
Yeah.
And tell us from your perspective what it was like teaching in the schools. Maybe not even that first year, but just like maybe some of your big highlights in that, because you were one of our best.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, you were.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, we call it yoga in the schools then. Now we call ourselves mindful education through our through our rebrand, because mindful education is truly what we do. We do so much more than yoga, but yoga is so much more than just a physical practice, but that's for another podcast.
Yeah, right.
But tell us some of your perspectives from teaching in the schools.
Well, I know I was super nervous going in the first time. And you were kind enough to say, okay, the first time we go in, we're going to go in, but we're going to have buddies. And I was so glad to have my buddy, and Laura and I were in a classroom together, and that did bring some ease. But it's like anything. I tell my kids this all the time. You have to put yourself in those situations that are a little scary. And I've done that even through my energy healing practice. Like, I was so scared to do this, but I'm going to force myself because I know this is the path I should take.
Yeah.
So you get through that fear, and then you realize, okay, it wasn't that bad. Okay, I got this. I'm good at this, actually. I'm really good at this. So that's kind of how that evolved for me. I went in really nervous, really scared, thinking, oh my gosh, can I do this? And, over time, it happened pretty quickly, but I felt really at ease. And it was just it felt so good to know that these kids that we were sharing with loved what we were offering them, and seeing them light up.
Yeah.
We'd come walking through the school in our blue shirts, and as soon as they'd see us, oh, we have yoga today. We have yoga today.
It's the yoga ladies.
Oh yeah. So excited. I had filmed several of the videos.
Oh, that's right. We did that on our cell phones back then.
Right? Yeah. So some of the classrooms had received videos, or they would play them in the classroom, I guess, from time to time. And I walked into a classroom at Kennedy, and a little girl looked at me, and her eyes got huge, and her mouth dropped, and she's watching me walk into the first day that I'm teaching yoga in their classroom. And she says, I'm your biggest fan. She's like, you're real life? You're real life? You're here in real life? I'm like, yes.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't realize that they had been watching the videos, but it was just so funny how excited the kids would get, and just making those connections. I just think it's a beautiful thing knowing that these children are able to learn this at such a young age.
Right.
I would have loved to have that opportunity as a kid. I mean, I had to kind of figure things out on my own.
Most of us did,
Yeah.
So we're hoping that it just gives them these tools in their tool belt to help them get to the places they need to with some really good tools.
Right.
So you taught quite a few years in the schools for us until you moved to Florida a couple years ago. And you came on as our business director, and you have developed what we call our affiliate program at Challenge to Change, which is going to be so amazing because we want kids all over the world to experience, what it's like to have those ladies in the blue shirt come into their school, whether it's through video or personally. And we realize that the way that we can do that at Challenge to Change is through finding the right people and making sure that they can live their best life through maybe starting their own little version of Challenge to Change. So can you talk a little bit about the affiliate program? Because this was your idea.
Yeah. So ultimately, I just think that what you have created, what we do at Challenge to Change, needs to be something accessible to everyone. And it is, but people just don't know about us. Outside of Iowa, I mean, we are pretty significant here.
Yeah.
But how can we do that? How can we share this? How can we get this into more schools and make this accessible to more teachers, more students? And so the affiliate program, I thought, was a great way for us to kind of bridge that gap. It gives an individual whom has taken our 95-hour kids yoga teacher training an opportunity to teach that training in their own communities to people that they know would benefit from having that training, bringing it to their classrooms, to their students, and possibly even then having the resources that we make available to have our programming, our curriculum.
That's our goal.
That's our goal. So it's a really, I think it's a great opportunity because you don't have to work for Challenge to Change. You can be, whether you're a school teacher, school counseling, a school counselor, or you happen to have your own yoga studio, or you just took our training and you moved to another place and you want to start establishing a program like we have in Iowa in your part of the world. Here's an opportunity for you to do that. We'll give you all of the tools. We will support you. We have an amazing program. We've got amazing resources.
So many resources.
Yeah. And we have plans for it to continue to grow and expand. So it's just going to get better and better and better. And so you can have that opportunity to have your own training and hopefully make some good money as well.
Great money. I mean, the way that you figured it, I had to take a couple deep breaths. But it was good. It was good.
And I'm thinking forward and more, maybe if we only had 3 or 4 licensed affiliates, Challenge to Change really doesn't make a whole lot of profit off of this.
And that's okay.
But my goal is that we're going to have thousands.
Right.
So, we look at it that way. We're not here to be greedy. We're doing the work.
Here.
We're here to bring this to the world. And again, it's just going to get better. So we're rolling it out very soon.
Rachel, as you brought that to me, I'm like, okay, Molly, what is your noble goal? I mean, your noble goal in life is raising happy, healthy, safe kids who make the world around them better than they found it, personally and professionally. And does this affiliate program align with that noble goal? 100% yes. 100% it does. And this is the way we can continue to raise happy, healthy, safe kids in the world who continue to make the world better, is by giving them these mindful education tools, whether they're in Iowa under our little umbrella of Challenge to Change, or whether they're under Challenge to Change Texas, Challenge to Change Pennsylvania, Challenge to Change California.
Exactly.
So I love that you came up with this idea and you're continuing to make it thrive.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this leads to our core 4.
Okay.
Are you ready? The core 4 questions, probably kind of named after the core 4 teachers that went into the schools.
Yeah.
But number 1 is, what are your top 3 core values? So you've done a lot of work with this in our personal empowerment work. So you've had a little more experience. So these will roll off your tongue fast. But what are your top 3 core values?
So family for me is a big one. And that's interesting because I've kind of looked back at the role I've played in my family my whole life. And I really have been the glue to keep everyone together. And we've not talked about this before, but my parents were divorced, and I was the oldest of 5 kids. But I would make sure that my dad was still connected to my siblings.
Yeah.
And then I met my husband, and his family is in all different places in Ontario, and I would make sure that his dad's side was connecting with the mom's side, and that we were all coming together to be that person for them. So family for me is really important. As I shared, my sister Carmen and I are best friends and super close. She lives in Oregon, so that's hard, but we are so connected. I mean, we literally have the same thoughts, and we'll finish each other's sentences.
Yes. Yeah.
And then especially my kids, pretty significant role in my life. I couldn't imagine not having them, not being a mom. So
and you connect them
1.
too. I mean, you literally have 1 child in Florida, 1 in Iowa, and 1 in Vancouver, Canada. And you are the glue that brings them together.
Yep. Just even if it's on my little family chat, but yeah. So family is the first one, probably most significant for me. The next is optimism. And I've always been very optimistic. My husband and I were having a discussion about this the other day. And Jordan, who works with us, Challenge to Change, she had just recently done a master class, and she was talking about optimism. And I thought it was really interesting, her take that she had on it. And she had, I'm going to get it wrong. Please don't come after me, Jordan, for butchering this. But she was talking about how optimism is really just acknowledging that you have choices and decisions that you can make.
That's very true.
It's acknowledging that you're not just stuck, okay, this stinks. Right. What do I do now? You have options and choices. So what are those options and choices you're going to take that are going to lead you to that most beneficial result, regardless of where you're starting from? So my husband's always more the pessimist and will focus on the negative of the moment. But I'm thinking, okay, well, what do we need to do now? Okay, well, this stinks, but what can we do to find ourselves in the best possible situation?
I can see that for sure.
It's always been, I've always been that way. And I do attribute a lot of that to my mom, who told me that things always have a way of working themselves out. And I remember hearing that from her from a very young age. And it was always true.
Yeah.
It was always true. You're right. Yes. Even in the toughest times, she would say, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Things always have a way of working themselves out. So I think that really did help to establish that for me, because I could see evidence of that being true from a very young age, just hearing that from my mom and being able to make that connection.
I love that.
Yeah. And then my final one is harmony. It's a huge thing for me. Just
That goes with the sound healing too.
It does.
I love it. Yeah.
But just having, and kind of harmony, balance, just having life just kind of flow in a really nice and peaceful way. And I live my life go, 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 go. And I've got so many things that I'm doing all the time. But I feel like I still am able to keep that harmony most of the time, even if I'm busy. So it doesn't mean that you're not running around, but I really try to be in the moment as much as I can and appreciate what I can in that moment and not allow myself to become overwhelmed with what might be coming, because then I lose that sense of harmony.
Right.
Lose that sense. I'll get there. Whatever's coming next week, which for us is going to be a pretty significant week. I know it's going to come. I know there's going to be a lot, but all I can do is be the best I can at what's happening right now.
Amen, sister.
Yeah, so those are my 3.
I love it. So we've got harmony, optimism, and family.
Yeah.
And we know that our core values oftentimes lead into what our noble goal is. So can you share with everyone your second of the core 4 is, what is your noble goal?
Okay.
Well, which rolls off your tongue now,
It
right?
does, as I look at my paper and read it. I embody it. I probably can't just recite it very well, but I will read it to you. It is to be of service to others, empowering them on their journey towards greater well-being and harmony in their lives, mind, body, and spirit, through compassionate guidance and support.
To me, that is you. And that is personally, in your personal life as well, with being the glue that holds your family together, whether it's your family of origin or the family you have now. And also professionally, too. You're really the glue at Challenge to Change, too.
I like being the glue.
You do. But that is, and you definitely do live a life of service. So thanks for sharing your noble goal.
Yeah, thank you.
So the next question I have for you is, I may know the answer to this already, but our listeners don't. Who has been someone who has inspired you to be the best version of yourself?
I was thinking about this question. I feel like I have 2 answers, like the easy answer and I think the obvious answer that people would expect you to say. It would be my grandmother.
Yes.
As I said, she was I wanted to be just like her, because not because everyone loved her, but because everyone loved her because she was so loving, kind, and caring. That's why I wanted to be like her. So I would say her. I would say my kids, because I wanted to be the best mom I could for my kids. So in a way, they inspired me to be the best version of myself coming into my life. But really what it comes down to, I really think it's very internally motivated. I've always been very...
Oh, I love that.
I've never really looked to someone else saying, this is my role model. I've always wanted to find it within myself.
Intrinsic motivation.
Yeah.
And no one has answered that question this way. I love that.
It's interesting because I started from a young age. Again, as a kid, I didn't feel like I would get at home what I really needed to feel at ease with whom I was. And you don't really stand out when you're one of 5 kids. I mean, I was the oldest, but I also probably was treated a little more harshly than the others because of that. And I learned that I got that positive attention by doing well in school and being a good student and being active. And that felt really, really good.
Yeah.
Felt really good for me. And so that's what I did. I thought, okay, this is easy. I can do well in school. I can be kind to other people. And so that really was what motivated me, is just getting that positive reinforcement, I guess.
I think that's a great thing for a lot of young people to hear. Intrinsic motivation can get you very far in life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love that. Thank you for answering that way.
Yeah.
Okay, last question of the podcast, but honestly, my favorite is, how are you going to leave this podcast, these four walls of where we're recording this podcast, and go out and make the world around you better than you found it?
I think that really is always just my goal. Whether it's how I'm raising my kids and the conversations that I have with them and helping them to navigate tough situations, being loving and supportive of the people in my life and being kind and caring and compassionate to people that I know or even the people that I don't know. I think that is really, really big. And honestly, Molly, I think just being a part of Challenge to Change and doing the work with you and helping to spread this mission in even a different way is really significant to me and really important to me. So I just feel...
Oh my God, you're going to make me cry, Rachel.
I just feel honored to be a part of it and know that what we have to share is important, and what we are sharing with people, whether they are using it for themselves or they're sharing it with the children in their lives, it's huge. It's huge. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's just who we are. That's what we do at Challenge to Change. We are here to make the world a better place, and we have someone amazing leading us as we're doing that.
Thank you, friend. I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you for talking all things energy. I mean, I honestly feel better after this conversation. Maybe we should have our podcast recorder, Mr. Ryan, come and put headphones on us to talk like this more often.
I think we should do that for sure. Yeah, I love it.
All right. Thanks, Rachel.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I'll be the best version of myself, spreading kindness and peace. I'll be the best version of myself.